Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Jimmy May. Jimmy May was one of my dad's best friends. My dad started in 1949, and in the 50s he was captain of the West Crew, and Jimmy May was the first lieutenant, I guess the unofficial, right? It wasn't official back then, but he was my dad's lieutenant in the West Crew. And you talk about a bunch of characters from back then. When my dad passed, I got a great letter from great letters from some of the guys that he had lifeguarded with back in the West Crew. But Jimmy's claim to fame, I guess, is he went 3 rounds with Floyd Patterson, was one of the biggest things. But Jimmy was just a character. He'd, I guess, sometime when I was lifeguarding in the mid-'80s, he had been in the shack and was thrown out of the shack and was told he'd have to go back to the beach. And he actually went back, and I think it was 84, no, maybe 86, I think. And he was made Rookie of the Year of the Central Crew. And he came back, he pulled the chair in 86. He was in his 50s at that point. But yeah, real character.
Talking to Jimmy May, I know one of his greatest treasures of his life was he was the first high school student in Long Beach history to letter in 5 high school sports, so he's very proud of that.
That was due to the fact he had extra years in high school. I did want to say that Jimmy May indeed was a character, but the other part of Jimmy May was that he was a jokester, and he loved to pull pranks on people on the beach. And he often would be involved in catering people's food and lunches and other kinds of things. So Jimmy truly was a unique individual.
Let's go. One more thing.
Sure.
I think he was married 7 times?
Yes.
7 times. We used to get Christmas cards every year, and it would say, from Jimmy and number 5, from Jimmy and number 6, from Jimmy and number 7. Never had the wife's name on there, but it was he was a character.
We also found that knowing Jimmy, I knew Jimmy before even Long Beach because he was good friends with the people who run the town of Hempstead beaches, like lifeguard gentleman named Luke White, who was the chief down there for many years, and Jimmy and him were close friends as well. I think they were drinking partners on the weekend, on the weekend parties. But and capers, the capers would happen between both beaches, from the town of Hempstead beaches, which just sit to our east, and to the Long Beach patrol beaches. Your drag chairs, they disappeared just like the drag chairs down in Lido Beach would disappear. So that kind of things happen all the time. But the lifeguarding, it sounds like they did a lot of antics and things like that, but there's a lot of serious work in there involved. These young men and women that are out on the beach every day, watching over the public, just know them, thank them, because they really have putting their lives forward to protect your lives. And when they ask you something, it's not because they want to give you a hard time. They're doing it because they're doing it for your safety. Just please always remember that, what the lifeguards bring to the table for everybody out there.
When we first started, Lou talked about working Pacific Boulevard, and Lou, at the end of the patrol is Pacific and Azores. And for the people that are listening, we have basically 26 beaches. Is it 26? 24. And the 24 beaches include Azores and Pacific. And now in your era, Lou, the lifeguards used to sit in the back where the playground is now. And there was just a small little beach in the back. And that's why they built the Azores wall, so that they would block the ocean from taking out the whole building, if you will. So the beaches have been broken down, and they used to have rope lines on each beach, which we put the swimmers in between the ropes. And again, that is no longer true, but was that true, Lou, in your era?
No, there were no ropes. They put the rock jetties in, and back in the 30s, before I became lifeguard, they built a huge rock jetties going out 600 feet into the water. And I remember watching them build them. And that was it. There was no rope lines. Although it could have been, some of the beaches have rope lines, but we didn't. There was only 1 lifeguard to a beach in those days. Now I see there were 3, and maybe even 4. There was only 1 at the time. And I recall my experiences one day having close to 10 rescues by myself. And 4 of them took taking people around the jetties to bring them in on the other side, because the current was so strong going at the time from west to east that you couldn't bring the people into the beach when they started getting trouble.
That's still true to this day, that whole issue.
It still is true, yeah. Anyway, had 4 rescues.
Now the difference, Lou, is they arrive on a jet ski and they pick you up in the water.
It's a little different nowadays.
A little different.
It certainly is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Luke jumped the gun on me. I was going to ask him about a dramatic rescue, but it sounds like he already gave us a dramatic rescue. Dramatic rescues do happen, can happen at any time. You can have people out on the sandbar, which I've experienced many times. You're on a bar, tide's low, tide comes in, sandbar disappears, everybody's floating, now you got 30 victims. It's happened, been there, rescued them all. We have a fantastic track record of not losing anyone. But I'm sure everybody here would like to share at least one story of something dramatic, so I'll give it over.